Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. The situation in Gaza is very depressing. There are children, women, men, innocent, who are being killed by the Israeli forces. What is happening is horrible. But why is it happening? There are at least two narratives that we come across. One narrative is mentioned by the Israelis. They claim that in the first week of October, Hamas attacked Israel and killed many of their civilians. And Israel is doing nothing but retaliating and preventing Hamas from doing further damage to them. Israel's narrative is getting more and more unpopular. The other narrative is presented by the Palestinians, according to which Israel has put Palestine under siege for the last 75 years. And Gaza is virtually an open prison wherein many of the human rights are denied to them. The life of the Palestinians has been miserable for the last two generations. And they had no other way out but to initiate some effort, some conflict that would attract the attention of the human population, which indeed this initiative has been able to do. My worry is that there could be a third narrative, the narrative of God. Because what is quite obvious in this conflict is that there doesn't seem to be any direct role played by the Almighty, apparently. Why would God not play any role to help out Muslims, innocent Palestinians, who are, it seems, at the mercy of the cruel, unscrupulous Israeli establishment soldiers? There are a few reasons, in my opinion, which could be the cause of God's absence, apparent absence from this conflict. If what I'm suggesting is correct, then it's a need, it's something that needs to be worried about. And we must correct ourselves in order for us to get God's help come to us, without which we are nobody. The first reason that comes to my mind why God is not helping us directly is that according to God's law, if a war is to be initiated, even if for legitimate purposes, it has to be done by a Muslim state. It has to be a ruler who is at the helm of the affairs of Muslims, who, if he feels that there is a need for a war to be done, to be initiated, then he's allowed to do so. If Muslims do not have a proper state, or if the Muslim rulers are not initiating a war, then they cannot indulge in a war, which is a game of killing, even if the cause is legitimate. The Prophet of God, may Allah's mercy be on him, he was asked to continue to stay steadfast and be patient and keep his hands tied and those of his companions. Kufu aydiyakum. When he was in Mecca and was being treated harshly by the people of Quraysh, It's only when he migrated to Medina and was in charge of the affairs of the state of Medina that he was allowed to fight against the enemy. A second reason that comes to one's mind that may be the cause of God being displeased and therefore not playing any role, displeased with us and not playing any role in the current situation of Gaza is that even in the case of wars and battles, God doesn't allow Muslims to kill innocent civilians, no matter what the reason for the war is. Um, it's only with the combatants that, in the case of a war, Muslims are allowed to fight against. A third reason that I can read from the Quran is that in Surah Al Baqarah, the second chapter of the Quran, verse 85, while addressing the children of Israel, who indeed were the Muslims before the revelation of the Quran, they, at least a particular community of theirs, would follow some part of the Sharia but ignore other parts of the Sharia. And the Almighty inflicted them with punishment and asked them, uh, what exactly should be the punishment for such people, except that they're going to be treated with insult in this worldly life, that they be insulted in this worldly life. That's something that should cause us to worry about. And another reason that I can find in the Quran is what is mentioned in the passage of Surah Bani Israel, the 17th chapter, verse 4 from 7, wherein the Almighty informs us that He allowed some tyrant, militarily strong kings to inflict His punishment on the children of Israel, the then Muslims. And they killed and annihilated the population of the children of Israel with impunity. And the Almighty mentions, after narrating, describing the kind of difficulties, punishments, annihilation that they went through, He says, in ahsantum lianfusikum. Look here, if you're going to do good, you are going to do good for your own selves. It's going to be good for you, for your worldly matters, and for the next life. Wain asatum. And if you're going to do evil, falaha, then you will have to face the consequences of it. If any part of these Quranic descriptions is applicable to us too, then it seems that we have understood, been able to identify the reason why we find that despite all these efforts that we are undertaking to bring together the world opinion in our favor, we still don't have God with us. I therefore believe that we Muslims, if we realize that there's something missing in us, and we are not the ones about whom God said, in tansurullah yansurkum. If you're going to support Allah and His cause, He's going to support you. He's going to help you. Now that it is missing, the promise is not getting fulfilled. What we must do is that we should make efforts to get immediate ceasefire implemented in Gaza, and we should unite as an ummah, without which, without that unity, we are nobody. We should leave arrogance. We should stop believing that we are superior to others, as Jews used to and still do. We are all humble human beings. The only thing is that we've got God's message, which should be a cause for us to become humble and have humility in our attitude. We should present God's message with good deeds and wise words. We must uphold morality and become morally upright individuals. And then we should ask God for our help. And most certainly, that help would come to us. May Allah enable us to understand His message properly and to follow it to the best of our abilities.